Let me ask you something. What's the one thing that separates those who dream from those who do? Is it talent? Luck? Opportunity? No. It's something far more powerful: discipline. And here's the truth most people don't want to admit. Talent may give you a head start, but it's discipline that ensures you cross the finish line. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone with incredible potential lose their way? They had the skills, the charm, the ability, but they didn't have the drive to keep showing up when things got tough. Now, compare that to the person who wakes up every day, puts in the work, and refuses to quit. They might not be the fastest or the strongest, but they are the most consistent, and consistency wins every time. If you've ever felt stuck, wondering why others seem to succeed while you struggle, this video is for you. By the end of this, you'll not only understand why discipline beats talent every single time, but you'll walk away with the tools to build the kind of unstoppable mindset that guarantees success. So, stay with me. The insights you'll gain here could transform the way you approach your goals, your habits, and even your life. Here's a hard truth. Talent is overrated. We've been conditioned to admire it, celebrate it, and even envy it. We watch athletes, musicians, or successful entrepreneurs and think they were born for this. But let me ask you, how far can talent really take you if you're not willing to work for it? Talent might get you noticed, but it's discipline that keeps you relevant. Think about it. Talent without effort is like having a car without fuel. It doesn't matter how sleek or powerful it looks. It's not going anywhere. That's why so many naturally gifted people never reach their potential. They rely on what they were born with instead of building what they need to succeed. Now, let's dig deeper. Why does society glorify talent so much? It's because talent feels magical. It's something you either have or don't have. But here's where the lie comes in. It makes people believe that if they're not born talented, they're destined to fail. And that's simply not true. The truth is, discipline is the great equalizer. It doesn't care where you came from, how smart you are, or how talented you were at the start. It only rewards those who are willing to put in the work day after day. The disciplined person doesn't have to be the best. They just have to show up over and over again. Psychologically, we're wired to seek shortcuts. Our brains crave the path of least resistance, which is why talent can feel so appealing. It promises success without struggle. But what's more fulfilling? Quick, fleeting wins, or the deep satisfaction of earning what you've achieved through hard work and perseverance. Look at any successful person you admire. They didn't get where they are because they were the most talented. They got there because they outworked everyone else. Take Michael Jordan as an example. He's often called the greatest basketball player of all time. But did you know he wasn't even the most talented player on his high school team? What set him apart was his relentless work ethic. While others relied on talent, he practiced harder, stayed longer, and pushed himself beyond his limits. The same applies to you. You don't need to be the smartest, fastest, or most gifted. All you need is the discipline to keep moving forward when others quit. You don't have to be extraordinary today. You just have to commit to being better tomorrow. So, here's the challenge. Stop obsessing over what you think you lack and start focusing on what you can control. Discipline doesn't require you to be specialist, just requires you to be consistent. Let's redefine discipline. Most people hear the word and immediately think of punishment or restriction. But discipline isn't about taking away your freedom, it's about giving you the power to choose your future. It's not a limitation, it's liberation. Because discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, no matter how you feel, no matter the obstacles. Here's the thing about discipline. It's not glamorous. It's waking up early when the rest of the world is still asleep. It's saying no to distractions when everyone else says yes. It's doing the hard work when no one's watching and there's no applause. That's why so few people embrace it. But the ones who do, they are unstoppable. Why is discipline so powerful? Because it makes success predictable. When you rely on motivation, you're gambling with your emotions. Motivation is fleeting, it's there one day, gone the next. But discipline doesn't depend on how you feel. It's a habit, a commitment, a decision you make every single day to show up, regardless of whether you feel like it. Think about this. Life will throw curveballs at you. challenges, setbacks, moments of doubt. When those moments come, talent won't save you. Motivation won't save you. The only thing that will keep you moving forward is discipline. It's the foundation you build to weather any storm. Psychologically, discipline rewires your brain. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you strengthen your mental resilience. You create a pattern of success that becomes second nature. It's like training a muscle. The more you work at it, the stronger it gets. And here's the beauty of it. Anyone can develop discipline. You don't have to be special. You just have to start. The truth is, discipline is the ultimate form of self-respect. It's saying to yourself, I deserve the rewards that come from effort. I'm worthy of the success that comes from consistency. It's refusing to settle for mediocrity because you know you're capable of more. Take this with you. Discipline doesn't mean you'll never fail. In fact, failure is part of the process. But discipline means you'll never give up. You'll keep pushing, keep learning, and keep growing. That's where true success is born, not in talent, but in tenacity. So ask yourself, are you willing to do what it takes? Are you ready to commit, not just when it's convenient, but when it's hard? Because the moment you embrace discipline, you take control of your life. And that's when the magic happens. Let's talk about motivation. It's exciting, isn't it? That rush of energy when you're inspired to chase your goals. It feels unstoppable. But here's the harsh reality. Motivation is like a spark it lights the fire, but it doesn't keep it burning. And that's where so many people fail. Motivation is a temporary emotion. It's unreliable because it's tied to how you feel in the moment. One day, you're ready to take on the world. The next, you're struggling to get out of bed. Sound familiar? That's because human psychology craves comfort. When motivation fades, your brain naturally looks for excuses to stop, to take the easy way out. Now, here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Relying on motivation is a recipe for inconsistency. Think about the last time you started something with enthusiasm. Maybe it was a fitness goal, a new business idea, or a plan to learn a skill. You were excited at first, right? But when the excitement wore off, what happened? Did you follow through or did you give up? This is where discipline becomes your greatest ally. Discipline doesn't care about your mood or your circumstances. It's not tied to feelings. It's tied to commitment. When you operate from discipline, you don't wait for the perfect moment or the right mood. You show up no matter what. Let me give you an example. Imagine two runners training for a marathon. One relies on motivation. They run when they feel inspired, when the weather's perfect, when they're in the mood. The other relies on discipline. They run every day, rain or shine, whether they feel like it or not. Who do you think will be ready on race day? It's not even a question. And here's something powerful. Discipline creates its own motivation. When you consistently show up and do the work, you start to see progress. Progress fuels confidence, and confidence fuels motivation. It's a cycle, but it all starts with discipline. Psychologists call this the success feedback loop. When you take disciplined action, no matter how small, your brain releases dopamine, a reward chemical that reinforces the behavior. Over time, this builds a habit. That's why the most successful people don't rely on motivation. They rely on systems, routines, and discipline. So, how do you stop relying on motivation and start building discipline? The answer is simple, but not easy. Take one step at a time. Start small. Commit to one action you can do daily, no matter what. And when it gets hard, because it will remind yourself why you started, here's the truth. Discipline isn't about feeling good. It's about doing good. It's not about waiting for inspiration. It's about creating it through action. And when you learn to master discipline, there's nothing you can't achieve. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to rise above every obstacle, while others struggle to stay consistent? The answer lies in one powerful truth. Success isn't about talent or luck, it's about mastering the mind. And at the heart of that mastery is discipline. Here's what you need to understand. Your brain is hardwired for survival, not success. It's designed to keep you safe, avoid pain, and seek comfort. That's why, when you set a big goal or face a challenge, your brain often pushes back. It tells you, this is too hard. What if you fail? Or, let's just do it tomorrow. Sound familiar? That's not weakness, it's biology. But here's the good news. Your brain is also incredibly adaptable. Psychologists call this neuroplasticity, the ability of your brain to rewire itself based on your actions and habits. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you're literally reshaping your mind for success. You're training your brain to associate effort with growth and growth with reward. Now, let's talk about habits, because they are the foundation of discipline. Research shows that about 40% of what you do every day is habitual. Think about that almost half of your actions are automatic. If you want to succeed, you need to make sure your habits are working for you, not against you. Here's how discipline ties into this. It's the bridge between setting a goal and building the habits to achieve it. For example, let's say your goal is to improve your fitness. At first, going to the gym might feel like a chore. Your brain resists because it's new, uncomfortable, and unfamiliar. But if you keep showing up day after day, week after week, it starts to become automatic. Eventually, working out isn't something you have to do. It's something you do because it's who you are. This is why discipline is so powerful. It's not just about achieving a single goal, it's about transforming your identity. The more disciplined you are, the more you start to see yourself as someone who is capable, consistent, and unstoppable. But let's be clear, discipline doesn't mean never making mistakes. You're human, and setbacks will happen. The key is how you respond. Successful people don't avoid failure. They learn from it. They see every setback as a stepping stone, not a roadblock. That's the mindset discipline builds. Resilience, focus, and an unshakable belief that every effort moves you closer to your goals. So, ask yourself, what's holding you back? Is it fear, doubt, procrastination? Whatever it is, you have the power to overcome it. Discipline is the tool that will break those chains and set you free. It's not about perfection, it's about persistence. When you choose discipline, you're choosing to take control of your mind, your habits, and ultimately your future. And that's how success is achieved not by chance, but by choice. Let's talk about two types of pain. The pain of discipline and the pain of regret. One is temporary, and the other lasts a lifetime. The question is, which one will you choose? Discipline is hard, there's no denying that. Waking up early, sticking to a routine, pushing through discomfort, saying no to distractions, it's not easy. But here's the truth. The pain of discipline is a small price to pay for the life you truly want. It's a sacrifice, yes, but one that delivers rewards far greater than the effort you put in. Now, let's look at the pain of regret. This is the pain that comes from knowing you could have done more but didn't. It's the weight of opportunities missed, dreams abandoned, and potential wasted. Regret doesn't just hurt, it haunts you. Unlike the temporary discomfort of discipline, regret lingers, gnawing at you every time you think about what could have been. Here's the reality. No matter what, life will challenge you. It will test your limits and force you to make hard choices. But the beautiful thing is, you get to decide which kind of pain you'll endure. Discipline may demand effort and sacrifice in the short term, but it leads to growth, achievement, and freedom. Regret, on the other hand, demands nothing upfront but, in the long run, it takes everything. Psychologically, humans tend to focus on immediate comfort. Your brain is wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain right now. That's why it's so tempting to hit snooze instead of getting up to work on your goals or to choose entertainment over effort. But what your brain doesn't naturally calculate is the long-term cost of those choices. Every time you avoid the pain of discipline, you're trading it for something much worse. The pain of regret. Consider this. 5 years from now, will you look back and be proud of the choices you're making today? Or will you wish you had tried harder, stayed more consistent, and fought through the tough moments? Regret is not something you can undo. It's the price you pay for neglecting discipline. But here's the empowering truth. You don't have to live with regret. Every single day, you have the chance to choose discipline. It doesn't matter how many times you've fallen short in the past. What matters is what you do today. Discipline is forgiven. It doesn't care about your mistakes. It only rewards your effort moving forward. So, the next time you're faced with a choice between comfort and growth, remember this: discipline hurts, but it's the kind of hurt that builds you. Regret? That's the kind of hurt that breaks you. Choose wisely, because your future self is counting on you to make the right decision today. Here's a question. When you think about success, do you picture a grand, life-changing moment? A big breakthrough that changes everything overnight? Most people do. But the truth is, success isn't built in a day. It's built in the small, seemingly insignificant actions you take every single day. Human psychology thrives on instant gratification. We crave big wins and fast results. But here's the catch. Those big wins are the result of small, consistent actions over time. Each step might feel like it doesn't matter in the moment, but together they create unstoppable momentum. Think about this. A stonecutter doesn't break a rock with a single strike. They hit it repeatedly, sometimes hundreds of times, without any visible progress. Then, on the final blow, the rock splits open. Was it that last strike that did it? No. It was the accumulation of all the strikes before it. Discipline works the same way. Every discipline choice you make, whether it's waking up early, sticking to your workout, or working on your goals when it's inconvenientous, like a strike on that rock. At first, you might not see results. You might even feel discouraged. But over time, those small actions compound. They build strength, habits, and resilience. And eventually, they create breakthroughs that seem sudden to everyone else, but you know better. Psychologists call this the compound effect. It's the idea that small, consistent actions lead to exponential results over time. But here's the challenge. It's easy to overlook small actions because they don't feel important in the moment. Skipping one workout, procrastinating on one task, or indulging in one distraction doesn't seem like a big deal, right? But multiply that by weeks, months, or years, and suddenly you're off course. The flip side is just as powerful. Imagine if every day you committed to improving by just 1%. Just 1% better each day. In a year, that tiny improvement would compound to make you 37 times better than where you started. That's the magic of small, disciplined actions. But here's the thing. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's not about big, dramatic gestures. It's about showing up even when it feels boring, repetitive, or hard. It's about understanding that the small actions you take today are investments in the future you want. So, let me ask you, what small action can you take today that moves you closer to your goal? It doesn't have to be huge, just one step forward. Because when you string enough of those steps together, you create something unstoppable. Remember, greatness isn't about doing extraordinary things once in a while. It's about doing the ordinary things with extraordinary consistency. And that's where true success lies, in the power of small, daily actions that build the life you've always dreamed of. Let's take a moment to reflect on something deeply important. Discipline is not just a tool for success. It's a form of self-respect. Think about that for a second. Every time you choose discipline, you're choosing to honor your future self. You're saying, I trust that the effort I put in today will lead me to where I want to be tomorrow. And that's a powerful statement to make to yourself. Too often, we look outside ourselves for validation. We seek approval from others, hoping that someone else will tell us we're doing well, that we're on the right track. But here's the truth. The most fulfilling form of validation comes from within. When you practice discipline, you don't need someone else to tell you you're doing great. You know it because you can see the results of your efforts. And that gives you a sense of pride and accomplishment that nothing else can replace. The key to this is understanding that discipline is a choice. It's a decision to take responsibility for your life. It's about saying, I am in control of my actions, and I'm willing to put in the work to create the life I desire. This mindset shifts everything. It moves you from a position of passivity to one of power. Why does discipline lead to self-respect? Because when you practice it, you prove to yourself that you are worthy of the effort. You show yourself that you care enough to make the right choices, even when they're hard. You start to see yourself as someone who is capable of greatness, someone who follows through, even when it's tough. The truth is, we often break promises to ourselves. We say we'll do something, But when the going gets tough, we back down. We let ourselves off the hook, but the more you do that, the more you chip away at your self-respect. Every time you fail to follow through, a little part of your confidence diminishes. However, when you discipline yourself to take action, even in the face of discomfort or doubt, you build your confidence and reinforce your self-worth. This isn't just about accomplishing goals. It's about the person you become along the way. Discipline shapes your character. It teaches you resilience, perseverance, and the ability to stay focused on the long-term vision, even when the road gets rocky. It's important to understand that discipline is not about perfection. It's not about never making mistakes or always getting everything right. It's about showing up day after day, doing the best you can with what you have. It's about proving to yourself that you are committed to your growth. So, if you've ever wondered why discipline is so important, here's the answer. It's the key to unlocking your fullest potential. It's the way you honor yourself, your goals, and your future. When you start respecting yourself enough to stay disciplined, you start seeing the world respond to you differently. Opportunities appear, confidence grows, and success becomes inevitable. Let's be honest. We've all procrastinated at some point. We've all put things off, waiting for the perfect moment to start, or waiting until we feel like it. But let's take a step back and ask, what is procrastination really costing us? Procrastination isn't just about delaying tasks, it's about delaying your future. It's a subtle form of self-sabotage. Every time you choose to procrastinate, you're telling yourself that your goals, dreams, and ambitions aren't important enough to prioritize right now. But here's the catch. The longer you delay, the more difficult it becomes to start. The task begins to feel overwhelming, and you start to spiral into self-doubt, guilt, and frustration. The psychology behind procrastination is rooted in our brain's natural resistance to discomfort. Our brain is hardwired to avoid pain and seek pleasure. When faced with a difficult task, we instinctively want to avoid it, which leads us to distractions and delays. But here's the truth. Procrastination feels comfortable in the short term, but it's a trap. It leads to stress, anxiety, and a sense of unfulfillment in the long run. So how do you break free from this cycle? How do you stop procrastinating and start taking action? The answer lies in discipline. Discipline isn't about waiting for motivation to strike. It's about taking small, consistent actions even when you don't feel like it. It's about building a habit of showing up for yourself, regardless of how you feel. Let's think about this. If you wait for motivation to overcome procrastination, you'll be waiting forever. Motivation comes and goes. It's a fleeting emotion, but discipline is something you can control. It's the decision to take action, no matter how small, every single day. And over time, these small actions add up. They build momentum, they reduce overwhelm, and they make procrastination feel less and less like an option. One powerful technique to overcome procrastination is the 2-minute rule. If a task will take less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. The simple act of completing small tasks without delay builds discipline and breaks the cycle of procrastination. By doing this, you not only complete the task at hand, but you also create a sense of accomplishment that propels you forward to tackle bigger tasks. Here's another approach. Break your larger goals into smaller, manageable chunks. Instead of thinking about the huge task ahead, focus on just one step at a time. By setting realistic, bite-sized goals, you remove the intimidation factor that procrastination feeds on. Psychologically, the act of completing small tasks also boosts your confidence. Every time you show up and take action, you prove to yourself that you are capable. And that confidence is crucial for overcoming procrastination because it helps you see that you can do hard things 7 when they seem overwhelming at first. The key to overcoming procrastination is simple. Make discipline a habit. When you train your mind to take action, regardless of how you feel, you take control of your future. And once you start, momentum will carry you forward. So, the next time you find yourself procrastinating, remember this. The hardest part is always starting. Once you take that first step, the rest will follow. The future you want is built by the actions you take today. Do you ever find yourself wishing for a quick fix, a shortcut to success? It's tempting to imagine that one big breakthrough, one moment of inspiration, can change everything. But here's the hard truth. Success is not built on one great moment. It's built on consistency. Think about this. The most successful people in the world didn't get there because they had a burst of talent or a lucky break. They got there by showing up day after day, year after year. Consistency is the invisible force that drives results, even when you can't see immediate progress. It's the small actions taken repeatedly over time that compound into massive success. But here's the catch. Consistency is hard. It requires you to stay committed even when you don't feel like it. When you don't see results right away. When you face setbacks or feel like giving up. The magic of consistency isn't in the short-term rewards, it's in the long-term gains. The truth is, success doesn't happen in bursts of motivation. Motivation fades. But discipline and consistency, they keep you moving forward. The key is to focus on the process, not just the outcome. Consistency is about building a routine, a system that supports your goals, and sticking to it even when the excitement fades. Psychologically, humans are wired for habits. Once you build a habit, it becomes automatic. That's why the most successful people don't wait for motivation. They've turned their actions into routines. Whether it's exercising every morning, writing for 30 minutes each day, or working on their business consistently, they show up even when they don't feel like it. Consistency builds momentum. Imagine pushing a heavy rock. At first, it's difficult, and you might feel like you're getting nowhere. But if you keep pushing, bit by bit, you'll eventually get that rock rolling. Once it gains momentum, it becomes easier to keep it moving. The same is true for your goals. The more consistently you show up, the easier it becomes to keep going. But what happens when you miss a day or two? It's easy to fall off track and let that momentum slip away. That's why consistency doesn't just mean showing up, it means showing up every day, no matter how you feel. When you build consistency into your routine, you create an unbreakable foundation that makes success inevitable. And here's the real power of consistency. It creates a mindset of growth. When you show up consistently, you reinforce the belief that your actions matter. You start to see progress in ways you might not expect. Every small effort compounds into something much bigger than the sum of its parts. So, what's the next step? Start small. Pick one habit to focus on and commit to it daily. Whether it's waking up early, reading for 20 minutes, or working on your project for just 30 minutes each day, commit to that one thing and build the habit. It's not about doing everything perfectly, it's about being consistent with your efforts. Remember, consistency isn't glamorous, and it's not easy, but it's the secret sauce behind every success story. It's the power that transforms ordinary actions into extraordinary results. Have you ever waited for motivation to strike before you take action? Have you ever told yourself, I'll get started once I feel motivated? It's a natural thought, but here's the truth. Motivation is overrated. In fact, motivation is the result of discipline, not the cause. Let me explain why this shift in thinking can change everything for you. We live in a world obsessed with the idea of motivation. It's the shiny, feel-good emotion that we all hope will push us to achieve our goals. But here's the catch. Motivation doesn't last. It comes in waves, and often it's gone just when you need it most. You'll wake up some days feeling energized, ready to conquer the world. But other days, you'll feel sluggish and uninspired, and that's when your discipline has to take over. This is where the power of discipline comes in. Discipline doesn't rely on feelings. It's the ability to act even when motivation isn't there. When you practice discipline, you're committing to take action regardless of how you feel. And guess what happens when you start taking action? Motivation follows. The psychology behind this is simple. Our brains are wired to take action before we feel motivated. When you get started, even with a small task, you send a signal to your brain that you're moving toward progress. That action triggers positive emotions, which then generate motivation to keep going. It's a cycle. Discipline leads to action, and action leads to motivation. Think about a workout, for example. You may not feel motivated to go to the gym, but once you start moving, whether it's stretching, lifting, or running, your body releases endorphins, and suddenly you feel energized. That burst of motivation comes after you start. The same principle applies to every area of life. Motivation doesn't come first. It follows your decision to act. The problem with relying on motivation is that it's unpredictable. Some days you'll feel like doing everything, and other days you won't want to do anything. If you're waiting for motivation to show up before you take action, you'll be stuck in a cycle of inaction. That's why discipline is so powerful. It doesn't wait for motivation. It creates it. Think of successful people like athletes, entrepreneurs, and high achievers. Do they wake up every day feeling inspired? Probably not. But they show up anyway. They work through the resistance, the doubt, and the lack of motivation because they understand that action creates momentum. They know that once they start, the motivation will follow. So, the next time you find yourself waiting for motivation, remember this: motivation doesn't lead to action. Action leads to motivation. Your discipline, your willingness to act, regardless of how you feel, is what fuels the motivation you need to keep going. Discipline is the true driver of success. If you can build the habit of showing up and taking action, motivation will start to work in your favor. You'll find that the more you do, the more you want to do. It's the ultimate cycle of growth. What if I told you that discipline is the key to freedom? It might sound like a contradiction. After all, when most people think of freedom, they picture no rules, no constraints, just doing whatever they want whenever they want. But here's the reality. True freedom comes from the ability to control your life, and that control is found through discipline. Think about it. Without discipline, we are slaves to our impulses, to distractions, to the immediate desires that come our way. We may feel free in the moment, but that freedom is fleeting. It's a false sense of liberation. The result, we end up trapped in cycles of procrastination, regret, and underachievement. We have the illusion of freedom, but we're not in control. Now, imagine the opposite. You wake up every morning with purpose and direction. You stick to your goals, manage your time effectively, and consistently make progress. You may face challenges, but you know exactly what to do because you've built the habits and the systems to navigate life's obstacles. That's freedom. Psychologically, humans crave autonomy and control. We want to feel that we have the power to make choices and shape our own destinies. But in order to experience true freedom, we need the discipline to make decisions that align with our long-term goals, not just the ones that give us temporary pleasure. Discipline allows us to act in our best interest, even when it's hard or uncomfortable. The more disciplined you are, the more control you have over your life. You create boundaries that protect your time, energy, and focus. Instead of being controlled by distractions, you control your attention. Instead of being a prisoner of your habits, you create the habits that empower you. Think about the freedom that comes from financial discipline. People who are disciplined with their spending, saving, and investing gain financial independence. They no longer live paycheck to paycheck or worry about debt. They can make choices based on what they want, not on what their finances dictate. This kind of freedom doesn't come from spontaneous spending. It comes from having control over your money and your life. Or consider the freedom that comes from physical discipline. When you make the choice to eat healthily and exercise regularly, you gain control over your body. You feel strong, energized, and capable. You're not controlled by your cravings, by fatigue, or by health problems. You're free to do the things you love without limitations. Discipline also gives you the freedom to pursue your passions and dreams. When you're disciplined with your time and energy, you make space for the things that matter most. You can devote time to your creative pursuits, your relationships, or your career goals, because you've made the tough choices to manage your life effectively. In the end, discipline is not about restricting your freedom, it's about expanding it. The more disciplined you are, the more you can achieve. The more you can experience the life you've always dreamed of, because you're not held back by distractions, procrastination, or lack of focus. So next time you think of discipline as something that limits you, remember, it's the gateway to your freedom. It's the tool that empowers you to create the life you want on your own terms. Discipline gives you control, and with control comes true freedom. What do you want your future to look like? Take a moment to picture it. Can you see it clearly? The life you've always dreamed of, your career, your relationships, your health, your freedom. It's all possible, but here's the secret. It's built on the decisions you make today. Every action, every choice is shaping the future version of you. And discipline is the bridge between who you are now and who you want to become. Here's where many people get stuck. They focus too much on the immediate. They want results right now. But success isn't about instant gratification. It's about long-term vision and the ability to stay focused on your goals, even when the rewards aren't immediately visible. The future you want is built on the foundation of disciplined choices you make today. When you practice discipline, you're making investments in yourself. You're putting in the work now so that your future self can reap the rewards later. Every small action you take today, whether it's waking up early, sticking to your workout routine, or working on your businesses, creating the life you'll live tomorrow. It's easy to get distracted by short-term desires. We live in a world that thrives on instant gratification. Social media, entertainment, fast food, all of these things give us quick, fleeting pleasure. But when you look at the big picture, those things don't matter. They're temporary. They don't help you build the life you truly want. Discipline, on the other hand, is about delayed gratification. It's about doing the hard work now so that you can experience the rewards later. It's about choosing to say no to things that won't serve your long-term vision, and yes, to actions that move you closer to your goals. The truth is, most of us overestimate what we can achieve in the short term and underestimate what we can achieve in the long term. We want everything now, and when we don't see immediate results, we get discouraged. But success takes time, it takes consistency, and most importantly, it takes discipline. Think about it. You won't see massive transformation overnight. You won't wake up tomorrow and have the body, career, or lifestyle you desire. But every day, when you take disciplined action, you're laying the bricks of your future success. Over time, those actions compound, and eventually, the future you've been working for becomes a reality. The power of discipline is in its ability to keep you focused on your vision. It's about training yourself to make decisions that align with your future self, even when it feels hard or inconvenient. The future you want is there, waiting for you. The question is, will you be disciplined enough today to create it? So the next time you feel tempted to give up or take the easy route, remember this: every disciplined action you take today is an investment in the future you desire. You have the power to shape your life. The future you want is not far away. It's being created in the small choices you make each and every day. What if the only thing standing between you and your dreams is self-discipline? It sounds simple, but the truth is, discipline is often the missing link between where you are now and where you want to be. We all have dreams. We all have goals. But without the discipline to take action, those dreams remain just that, dreams. It's easy to imagine success. It's easy to picture yourself achieving your goals. But here's the hard reality. Success doesn't happen just by wishing for it. It happens through consistent effort. And the key to that effort is self-discipline. The ability to push yourself when you don't feel like it. To stay committed even when the excitement fades. And to keep going when others would give up. That's the power of self-discipline. Self-discipline isn't about being perfect. It's not about never making mistakes or always getting everything right. It's about showing up day after day and doing the work that needs to be done. It's about taking responsibility for your actions and your choices. And when you take responsibility, you take control of your life. Imagine the power of self-discipline when it comes to your goals. Let's say you want to build a successful career, get in shape, or create a business that will change your life. These are big dreams, and the road to achieving them is not always easy. But with self-discipline, you break those big goals into smaller, manageable steps. You commit to doing the work, not just when it's convenient, but when it's hard. You develop habits that push you forward, even on days when motivation is nowhere to be found. Psychologically, self-discipline strengthens your belief in your own abilities. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you reinforce the idea that you are capable of achieving great things. When you take disciplined action, you send a powerful message to your subconscious mind. I am someone who follows through. Over time, this builds your confidence, your resilience, and your belief in yourself. And here's the powerful thing about self-discipline. It doesn't just apply to one area of your life. When you practice discipline in one area, whether it's your health, finances, or career, it spills over into other areas. You start to realize that if you can control your actions in one part of your life, you can do it in others as well. Discipline becomes a mindset, and this mindset shapes everything you do. Self-discipline also allows you to say no to distractions, temptations, and negative influences that could derail your progress. It helps you focus on the things that truly matter, on the actions that move you closer to your dreams. The more disciplined you are, the more you learn to prioritize what's important over what's easy. Ultimately, self-discipline is about empowering yourself to live the life you truly want. It's about making your dreams a reality, not through luck or random chance, but through consistent, focused effort. And the more you practice self-discipline, the more you realize that you have the power to shape your future. So, the next time you feel tempted to take the easy road or skip the work, remember this. Your dreams are worth the discipline. The life you've always wanted is just on the other side of your commitment. It's within your reach, and the key to unlocking it is self-discipline. Have you ever looked at someone successful and wondered, how did they get there? We see the achievements, the recognition, the accolades. It's about consistently showing up when it's tough, when no one's watching, and when no one believes in you. That's the power of discipline, and it can transform your life. Imagine this for a moment. You wake up each day with a sense of purpose, knowing exactly what you need to do to get closer to your dreams. You've developed the habits that support your goals. You've built the discipline that drives your actions, even on days when motivation is nowhere to be found. And as you move forward day by day, those small actions compound into real, tangible results. This is the lasting impact of discipline. It doesn't just change your actions in the moment, it transforms your entire life. Over time, discipline turns into a lifestyle, and that lifestyle shapes your future. It becomes your identity. You no longer think of yourself as someone who just tries. You become someone who does. You become someone who shows up, who takes action, and who achieves what they set out to do. But here's the most beautiful part. Discipline doesn't just change your career or your bank account, it changes you. It builds your character. It strengthens your resilience. It teaches you that you are capable of more than you ever thought possible. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you're building trust with yourself. You're telling yourself, I can do this. And that belief in yourself is the foundation for everything you will achieve. The impact of discipline is powerful. It changes not only your life, but also the lives of those around you. When you become a disciplined person, you inspire others to do the same. You lead by example, showing those around you that greatness is not a gift, but a choice. It's a choice to commit to your goals, to push through challenges, and to build the future you want, one disciplined step at a time. If you're ready to transform your life, to turn your dreams into reality, the first step is simple. Start today. Start building the habits, the routines, and the discipline that will carry you forward. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about consistency. Every small effort you make will add up to something extraordinary. And now, I need you to do something for yourself. Like this video, because it's a reminder that the power to change your life is in your hands. Share this with someone who needs to hear this message, the one who might be feeling stuck or unsure of their next step. And most importantly, subscribe to this channel so you can keep receiving the motivation and inspiration that will push you to stay disciplined and keep moving forward. Your future self is counting on you. Make the choice today to commit to your success. Take action, build your discipline, and watch your life transform.